See, I've taped my printable to my easel so I can use it as my guide. Now let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is to mix our 2 shades of Bimini Blue and Blue Cotton with some of our Titanium White until we have this nice cool shade of blue. Take your 1.5 inch flat brush and coat the entire surface of the canvas with the blue. We'll want to coat the top, bottom, and sides too. Once the canvas has been completely coated, wash your brush or grab a new one and load it with some Titanium White. Now let's drag a bit of that white from the upper left side of our canvas toward the center with uneven strokes. Now go to the center and drag the brush downward with short, quick strokes. Then go over to the right, starting about 1.5 inches from the top, and do the same. Make sure your strokes are uneven. We don't want to create a box. Go to the bottom right corner and drag some paint toward the left, using longer strokes as you near the bottom of your canvas. We're going to add one more section right about here, using downward strokes. And then I'm going to make this a little bit more visible right here. Next, we're going to take a bit of our primary red and a tiny dollop of primary yellow. Mix them with a good amount of white until you get this nice peachy color. Now we're going to go back to our canvas and add some patches of this peach, starting at the upper right corner, dragging the paint from the right to the left. Do the same thing right about here. Then move down to the lower left and make another patch using up and down strokes. We're going to add one last patch right about here, right between these 2 white patches. Now we're going to let our canvas dry. Go have a snack or watch an episode of your favorite TV show. If you like, you can even paint the background the evening before and let it dry overnight. When your canvas is completely dry, grab a sheet of carbon or graphite paper. This is a thin material that has an inky side that allows you to trace and transfer images or words to another surface. You can find this at most office supply stores or by following the affiliate link below. We're going to take this carbon paper and tape it to our canvas. Make sure you place the shiny side down. And then we're going to tape the printed image of James Dean on top of the carbon paper. Be sure to center your picture. You want the blank areas to the left and right of the canvas to be evenly spaced. And you want the bottom of James's sweater to be in line with the bottom edge of your canvas. Next, take a basic ballpoint pen and begin tracing around all the black areas on the image. You want to press firmly, but not so much as to tear the paper or damage the canvas beneath. Your lines do not have to be perfect because we'll be painting over it all anyway. And remember, we're making pop art, not perfect art. You'll want to take extra care when tracing through his hair. There are a lot of tiny areas here, so you'll want to use a little more pressure on these spots. Now, the image cuts off at his shoulders, but we're going to add them in. So draw all the way to the edge of your paper on the right, and then again on the left. We'll add in the curved parts later. Once you've traced every line, carefully peel the tape and remove the image and the carbon paper. Here's a close-up of the traced lines. Go ahead and retape your printable to your easel or somewhere nearby. You'll be referring back to it often. We're going to start by filling in all the black areas on our painting. So mix a bit of primary blue with Mars black. We want to have sort of an inky black for this painting. Load a number 5 round brush with this color and begin painting in the large chunks of his hair and the shaded side of his face. Don't worry about getting all the way to the edge of your traced lines right now, because we'll be going back in with a smaller brush later. Right now, I want you to focus on the large areas only, like his sweater. Once all the large areas have been covered, go back in with a number 0 round brush and carefully bring the black out to the trace lines. Be extra careful when filling in his hair. Take your time. There's no need to rush. Make sure to refer back to your printed image to know which parts should be painted black and which should remain empty. When you're done filling in all the black areas, it should look like this. Doesn't that look great? You could absolutely leave it like this and be done. It is hang-worthy as is. But since we're painting pop art, I always like to push the envelope a little further. So let's keep going. We're going to go back to that peachy color we made for the background. This time we're using a 3/8 inch angled brush. Let's start with his forehead. We want to create a line from his left temple to the center of his forehead. The line should angle down just above his eyebrow. And then go ahead and fill the forehead in. Next, we're going to draw another line from his cheekbone to his chin. Imagine this as the hollow of his cheek. Fill in the blue spots above his eye wrinkles. And down his nose. Go back up to the top and smooth out that curved line down the center of his forehead. And then carefully fill in the rounded parts of his nose and chin. Leave his bottom lip blue, as well as the tiny triangle above his Cupid's bow. Add a triangle of peach to his neck area, just below the jawline, and then draw a line up the back of his neck. Now it's time to fill in his ear. Since there is no back to his ear, we're going to have to create one. You can switch to a smaller brush for this step if you like. And don't forget the top curve. Then go back and add a tiny peach highlight to the inside of his bottom lip. Now take a step back and look at what you've accomplished so far. Aren't you amazed at how well it's coming together? Now let's keep going. Take a tiny bit of black on a number 0 liner and round out the bottom of his eye. Then clean up the hairline around his ear, dragging a line up and around the peach curve we made earlier. Let's add another short line right here, and a shadow right above his earlobe. Then just go in and fix any areas that got covered up by the peach color. Now take another 0 liner or 0 round and load it with titanium white. We're going to add 2 long strokes right in the front of his hair. Let's add a couple of short white lines here. And 3 over here. Let's add 2 here and another 2 here, right above his sideburn. Curve a line around the round part of his head, and paint a shorter line right above that. Let's add 2 small lines in the shape of a V right about here. Now, as you can see, all of these white strokes add a bit of dimension and movement to his hair. Now take that same liner with titanium white and add a long stroke down the front of his forehead where the peach and blue meet. Add a straight line right above his eyebrow and another one at an angle so they meet in the middle. What we are highlighting the areas where the sun or a light would hit him. So go ahead and add a bit of white right above each of his eye wrinkles. Then draw a thick white line down his temple, again, where the peach meets the blue. Create a highlight down his cheekbone. And right above his upper lip. Now make sure to leave the center of his top lip blue. Draw another line down his nose, curving at the tip. Let's go back to his lip area and draw a thin line in the center of his Cupid's bow, and then across the outside edge of his bottom lip. He also needs a highlight along his chin and at the base of his neck. And one more along the top curve of his ear. Now let's add some white to his sweater. Drag a curved line across the top of his right shoulder and around the back of his collar. Paint a long wavy line across his left shoulder and 2 more around the front of his collar. Now go back in with your black liner and fix any areas that got messed up with the white. Add a tiny highlight right on the bridge of his eyebrow. This would be right below his left eyebrow, and then another above his right eyebrow. Go ahead and widen that white line on his temple and lengthen the one on his jawline. Okay, let's put away our white paint and let's go back to our blue. We're just going to take a bit of that blue and draw a rounded line right under the curved part of his eyeball. This gives the illusion that he's staring back at you. Then take that same blue and then fill in the parts of his hair where the peach or the white paint is peeking through. Now, this step is completely optional. I just think that the blue makes the black hair just pop more. Now, I wasn't happy with the white cloud above his head, so I went in with a dry brush and some of that blue and just lightly dragged my brush back and forth over it, still letting some of the white and peach show through. Now step back and take another look at your painting. Doesn't it look fantastic? Now you can be done here, or you can follow along with me for the last few steps. In these last steps, we're going to add one more pop art element to our painting. We're going to add a triple layered highlight / shadow to James so that he pops right off the canvas in sort of a 3-dimensional way. So take your 1/2 inch angled brush, load it with that peach color we made earlier, and paint a thick line around James, starting at the top side of his head, right around the part of his hair that looks like little Mickey Mouse ears. Follow his head all the way around to his shoulder and down toward the bottom left corner of your canvas. Then we're going to load a thinner flat brush with white paint and go directly over this peach shadow, allowing just the outside edge of the peach to show. Finally, paint a thin blue line around him on top of the white. Once you're done with all 3 of those lines, go back in with your black liner and just fix any areas that accidentally got painted over. Now step back and take one final look at your pop art painting. Now, you should be so proud of yourself. Look what you did in so little time. You're officially an artist. So go ahead and sign your painting. Here's James Dean hung up on my office wall. Where are you going to hang yours? Let me know in the comments section below.